Spring, summer, autumn, winter, come to years old. Winds blow, sunset, and morning set. Yea, yes, put on your coat.
Lawrence here in the choir. They're doing choir rehearsal, aren't you? Lawrence? I thought the choir was here.
No.
Is this not the choir?
I think this is the audience.
Oh, the audience. Oh, right. Yes. That means...
We must be the performers.
Yes, I knew there was something.
I'm Lawrence.
And I'm Frances. And I'm Lauren. Yes, and you're very welcome to our very first ever performance of Flowers of the Seasons.
Politics, power, and poverty.
Here in this wonderful library in Conway Hall, surrounded by all these books, and above them the pictures and images of all these important people associated with the ethical societies. But the most important one of all, which is to your right as you're looking above this enormous fireplace, is Eliza Flower, the composer who we are celebrating tonight. And you can see from the picture that she doesn't look at all like a Victorian straight-laced lady at all, with those lovely soft curls down to her shoulders. It was a picture which was drawn after her death by Mrs. Bridle Fox, who was remembering with love the woman who had acted as her mother for many years.
You can see Eliza is looking over to the other side of the mantelpiece to her younger sister, Sarah Flower Adams, the poet, who also has this loose, very un-Victorian hair down to her shoulders.
In their deaths, they were not divided.
Were they not?
No, that's the inscription on their tomb in Harlow in Essex. They're buried with their parents. It's a very beautiful place, actually.
Well, here in this room they are divided by an enormous oil painting of a chap who looks a bit like Robert Burns to me, with his big sideburns and his good looks.
Yeah, well, he does look like Larry Burns. And the sisters loved Burns' poetry. But that is not him.
Who is it?
Well, I think we should let Oscar tell them about him when he gets here, because I'm not going to.
Well, Sarah's picture was drawn by Margaret Gillis,
Yes.
who was also a Scot, like yourself, Francis, and like Robert Burns.
Yes. Yes. But she drew other people, famous people from that period as well, Margaret.
Feminists, Francis, like Harriet Martineau, for example.
Now, Harriet Martineau and Eliza Flower were a really close writing partnership. Some of the time.
Do tell.
No. Listen, if we start all this, we could be here forever. Like, look, we're here to sing songs of the seasons. I think we should. Shall we? Yes, I think we should.
Right.
They're all going. Where's the songs? Right, here we go.
How about songs of the months?
Songs of the month?
January through December.
Yeah. The trouble is, do you know there are 12 months? Did you know that? And that means if we sing 12 songs of the months, there won't be any time for the seasons.
Let's start first season, say that's spring,
Yeah.
so we can sing March.
March. Oh, that's a good idea. March. Yes, let's do March.
So, songs of the months. A musical garland. It says here it was published by J.A. Novello in December 1834.
Yes. Well, that was the whole volume that was published then in one go. But in fact, they were published every month for that year, 1834, in the monthly repository.
Sounds uncomfortable.
No, it's the journal of the South Place Unitarian Chapel where the sisters worked, and it was published by that man.
Songs of the months. A musical garland for the hoary head of time.
Time. Time.
Time. Time. Time.
Time.
Time.
Time.
Time.
Time.
Time.
Time. Time. Time.
Time. Time.
Listen.
As we pause.
As we pause. Marking our pace by music. Marking our pace by music. Children of the year. Children of the year. Marking our pace by music. March. A wizard is he, to see temples arise in the open air. Now they are gone, and the troop comes on of blue-bird knights and ladies fair. They pass, and a host of spirits play, a host of spirits play, floating on the bay, away. His sunbeams are lightning, the black clouds brightening, grand is the word in the heavens to see. His winds are thunder, scattering them asunder. The world he has made, but what care he? In a chariot of storm he rolls along, a chariot of storm, while the worried shout, their triumphal song. Blow, March, blow, your time is now. Soon you must hush your noisy breath. Soon we shall listen while raindrops glisten to the airs that will murmur of spring's bright ring. Harm not the buds, harm not the buds that dare to peep, lest April away her sweet life weep. Harm not the buds that dare to peep, lest April away her sweet life should weep. March. I think we have storms like that every month now. And in 1834, Eliza experienced storms in her own life every month. And you can hear it in the piano part she wrote.
I think you can. Reminds me of some of Schubert's piano writing and things like El Curly Gilking, that sort of thing.
Yeah, she was very influenced by Schubert, I'm sure, but also by Felix Mendelssohn.
Well, Francis, as the seasons were such a popular theme of the day, I'm sure we can find something from Schubert and Mendelssohn for the programme tonight.
Oh, well, not Mendelssohn, if that's okay.
But Mendelssohn thought Eliza Flower was a genius.
Yes, but there is some context here. She thought that he would be a great success, the grand man, the great artist. But he told her to her face that she would not be successful, despite being a genius. I don't think she thought she was a very nice man, from what she said.
Okay, well, maybe not Mendelssohn, maybe his sister, Fanny Hetzel.
That's a better idea. That's a much better idea.
I'm
Some
sure
Hetzel would be good.
we can find something here. There's a Fruiting Seed Spring Song.
Oh yes, the Fruiting Seeds. That's a great idea. So this song was nightingales, a nice green wood, and all that kind of thing. But in fact, it's really about their love. It's about this maiden going into the wood to find where her passion is.
Well, you sing that. I'll sing a Schubert lieder, Sommernacht or Summer Night. It's a funny little thing. It's sort of a recitative with a tiny little aria at the end of it. I'll tell you more about that later.
Oh, right.
Next we move to a summer night where fragrances from the lime trees are wafting over and moonlight is filling the grove. But the poet is insensible to all of this. It only reminds him of the grave of his beloved and the times he once enjoyed there.
Schatten mich Gedanken an das Grab meiner Geliebten. Und ich sehn voll Dolores dämmern. Und es fehlt mir von der Blüte nicht. Ich kann was einst, o ihr Toten, ich kann was einst mit euch. Wie unweder uns die Duft und die Kühlung, wie verspürt was von dem Baum da du, o schöne Natur.
Come and listen then, while March winds muster strong, to the loveliest summer memory that ever lighted song.
What's that?
Oh, well, it was just getting a bit sad. March morning in the rain and the traffic's whipping past and people are flooding out of Queensway. Well, it wasn't like that at all.
I see the grove of limes on a sunny summer's day. 'Tis stealing from their silky leaves the honeydew away. But the perfume of their tufty tassels clings to them around, and there's playroom for their shadows on the unmolested ground. The cream-white cow is dozing on her yielding bed of grass, and the pony from the paddock rail looks welcome as you pass. And rooks and jays from far aways come flocking now and then, while peeping from her nested home is watching them the rain. I see the acacia, myriad-leaved, as tall as it would rise to the undivided azure of the pure and steadfast skies. Eliza Flower's Song of the Month for August, the harvests of all time. Indeed, a message for all time. Not this time a collaboration with her sister Sarah, but rather with Harriet Martineau, who you mentioned earlier.
Yes, now, Harriet Martineau and Eliza Flower wrote, well, one of the most popular of her songs, didn't they? was sung by 100,000 people in Birmingham, and I thought I could. Did you hear that? I just thought there was something in the street
Better
there.
hearing than I have, Francis.
Well, I just.
Oh, yes.
Yes, they're outside in the street. They're singing it. Yes.
Oh, this is,
what's it called?
Gathering of the Unions.
We come to do the glorious. Yes, here we go.
And hark, we raise from sea to sea the sacred watchword liberty. And hark, we raise from sea to sea the sacred watchword liberty.
Ah, welcome, Master. You've come at a good time, because we were just talking about Harriet Martineau, and then you turn up with one of our songs. That's how good is that? So, maybe, as you're a historian, you'd be better placed to tell them about her than us.
Well, thank you very much for asking.
Yes.
If you Google Harriet Martineau, she comes up as a sociologist. But it's almost impossible to overstate her importance as much more than that. A 19th century thinker, feminist, political figure, abolitionist. Despite many personal afflictions, including a gradual loss of hearing that she found especially cruel, Martineau was a towering force. But at this time, the early 1830s, also a young woman, new to London, hungry for both friends and fortune. And she found the first of these things in the Flower Sisters. At times they were reduced to sleeping all three in the same bed, and for a while she hoped to make her home with them. What she made instead was this brilliant songwriting partnership with Eliza, first contributing lyrics to songs of the month, such as August, then a series of political pieces like the March that we have just sung, a song that was heard at demonstrations across the English-speaking world until the end of the 19th century, and now again. In Martineau's letters to her dearest Lisa, we get a sense of almost desperate longing for the Flower Sisters' company. In Martineau's fiction, we get idealised versions of their girlhood. So the Flower Sisters were brought up in rural Harlow, in Essex, by their eccentric father, Benjamin Flower. Progressive politics ran in their blood. The Flowers' parents met when Benjamin was in prison for publishing revolutionary sentiments, and their mother had been driven out of Devon for running a radical boarding school. In 1810, their mother, another Eliza, died. In 1819, when the girls were in their teens, they moved to Dalston. Like many others, the Flowers were drawn into that great centre of gravity for radical religious thought, the Unitarian Chapel in Bishopsgate. By 1830, when Martineau had also gravitated to this chapel, it had relocated to Finsbury Square, to South Place, in fact, which would give the society its name for a century, until it moved again to this very spot and became Conway Hall. The minister responsible for the move to South Place, and responsible for a lot more besides, is the one eyeing us now from between those mighty pair of sideburns. He gave Martineau her first big break. If it comes to that, he gave Browning and Tennyson their first big breaks. And when Benjamin Flower died in 1829, he became the legal guardian of both Flower Sisters. His name was William Johnson Fox. We'll hear more about him later. What matters for now is that, like Martineau, he was a political activist and provided our Eliza with both lyrics and a platform. He was the editor of this monthly repository and used his publishing connections to get out a series of cheap political songs, heavily subsidised, for mass circulation during the volatile years of the early 1830s. In the run-up to the Great Reform Bill of 1832, which was a huge disappointment, actually, for most radicals, he published a series of these cheap protest songs as single sheets of music. The most influential of them we have already heard, Gathering of the Unions.
Oh.
We raise from sea to sea a sacred watchword liberty.
And hark,
We raise from sea to sea a
wrote the lyric, and Eliza gave it a pretty wild tune, in fact a tune that was beyond the capacity of most non-professional singers. There is only one way to demonstrate this. It's called the Day Labourer's Song, and it goes very, very slightly like this. My only claim is this, with labour stiff and stark, by a mortal term I am bred to earn between the light and dark. My daily bread and nightly bed, my bread and cheese and beer, but all from the hand that holds the land, and none from the overseer. But all from the hand that holds the land, and none from the overseer. No parish money, nor parish loaf, no pauper's life for me. I'm a son of the soil, by rightful toil entitled to my fee. No alms I ask, give me my task for will or arm or leg. I'm strong, I'm bold, and to this I'll hold, to work and not to beg. We're strong, we're bold, and to this we'll hold, to work and not to beg.
Well, that's great. Well, yes. Now, if we're in my favourite song, protest song, mine is also by Fox and Flower, and it's a bit of a history lesson. It starts on Magna Carta. It starts on Magna Carta, doesn't it? But if I'm going to do this one, I'll need a soapbox.
Let me help you out here.
Oh, right, okay.
Reach.
Right, that's better. Right, so we're starting with the barons on running reed. Yes, I think we can. Yes. Are you ready? Listen, I like this one because it's a bit like a Gilbert and Sullivan patter song. But, you know, it was written in 1832, so it's a bit previous. The barons bold on Runnymede by union won their charter. True men are they, prepared to bleed, but not their rights to barter. And they swore that England's laws were above a tyrant's blood. And they proved that freedom's cause was above a tyrant's sword. They honoured the memory of the fathers bold united, and let their hands join hand in hand. Our wrongs shall soon be righted. Now we come up to King Charles's time. Okay, here we go. The Commons brave in Charles's time by union made the crown fall and told the world that royal. Oh, sorry. I think they think King Charles. They think I mean King Charles.
Oh, no.
No, the one without the head. We're not. Oh, gosh, right. We'll start that again. They were looking worried. The Commons brave in Charles's time by union made the crown fall and told the world that royal crown should lead to royal downfall. And they swore that rights and laws were above a monarch's word. And they raised the nation's cause above the monarch's sword. They honoured the memory of the Commons brave united, and let their hands join hand in hand. Our wrongs shall soon be righted. And we come up to 1832 now, right up to date. The people brave from court and peers by union won reforms, sir, and union saved the nation's tears through sunshine and through storms, sir. And we swear that equal laws shall prevail on lordling's word, and can prove that freedom's cause is too strong for hireling's swords. Then honor we the victory of the people brave united, when all our bands join hearts and hands. Our wrongs shall
Okay, you want the piano, swap.
Right then.
So this is Eliza Flowers setting part of one of the Waverley novels written by Sir Walter Scott. This particular story comes from The Bride of Lammermuir, or as all lovers may know it, Lucia di Lammermuir.
The monk must arise when the matins ring, the abbot may sleep to the chime. But the yeoman must start when the peal will sing. 'Tis time, my heart, 'tis time. There are bucks and rays on bill, oh praise, there's a herd on Shortwood shore. But a lily white doe in the garden goes, a lily white doe in the garden goes, she's very worth them all. The monk must arise when the matins ring, the abbot may sleep to the chime. But the yeoman must start when the peal will sing. 'Tis time, my heart, 'tis time, my heart, 'tis time. 'Tis time. And humming his rustic roundelay, the yeoman went on his way, the sound of his voice gradually decreasing as the distance increased.
Lawrence, where's he going? What, Lawrence?
Gradually dying away as the distance
Yeah, very good. Now listen, Oscar's got us singing protest songs, and we're not supposed to be doing that.
No.
We're supposed to be singing songs of the season, and we've got distracted. Look, come on, get that video. We only got to summer, you know.
You've done spring and summer, so, well, tell you what, let's hear a bit more from Eliza's contemporaries over in Europe for the remaining seasons. And I'm going to sing some Schubert.
Oh,
There's a lovely 4-verse song called Winterlied, or Winter Song. Actually quite jolly in the end. So,
oh, good.
in the first verse, there are no flowers, but there are some flowers patterns in the ice on the windows. The second verse, there's no bird song. There is a little overwintering bird who's chirruping for food. Third verse, there's no love outside, but love has come indoors. And the final verse, January, you can be as cold and long as you like. I'm perfectly cosy indoors.
That sounds very jolly for Schubert, doesn't it? What you do?
Playing Schubert?
No. That's the winter song.
Yeah.
I think you're forgetting something.
Autumn.
Yes. Now, I think we should go back to Heads for Autumn because she's got a great song, the autumn song. But that's in 3 sections. So, and in the first section, she goes back to that forest again, the maiden. But this time, the leaves have fallen, and it's lonely. And in the distance, she hears a clock chiming, and it feels very strange. And then in the second section, she wonders what on earth she's been drawn to this place for, all on her own. And she looks and looks for her love, but they're not there. So then she says, you know, bring on the old songs. My heart's already broken, and everything's going down towards the grave. Der Wald wird voll, die Blätter fallen wie öd und still der Raum. Die Bächlein morgen durch die Buche hallen, nimmt Rauschen für Traum. Und Abendglocken schallen. ihr mich so wild verloren in dieser Einsamkeit. Wie in der Heimat klingt dieser Chor aus stiller Kinderzeit. Ich wende mich erschrocken, ach, was mich liebt, ist weit. So brecht ein Chor ihr alten Lieder und brecht das Herz mir ab. Noch einmal grüß ich aus der Ferne wieder, was ich nur Liebes hab. Mich aber zieht es nieder vor Wehmut wie ins Grab. Vor Wehmut wie ins Grab.
Keine Blumen blühen, nur das Wintergrün liegt durch Silberhüllen, nur das Fenster vielen Blumen rot und weiß aufgeblüht aus Weiß. Ach, keine Vogelsang tönt mit frohem Klang, nur die Winterweise ihrem kleinen Leise, ihrem Fenster giert und Futter giert. Mir fließt in Heim, wo die Vögelein sonst im grünen Schatten ihre Nester hatten. Mir flieht in Heim, kehrt ins Zimmer ein. Kalter Januar, hier werd ich für unter Minne spielen, deine Frost nicht fehlen, Walter immer da. Kalter Januar. Bringing us to Kalter Januar, cold January, which does mean we've skipped over the best bit of winter for us.
Yeah, Christmas. We can't really let the snow go by, can we, without doing something of Eliza's? And she did write quite a lot of hymns, didn't
I'm
she?
thinking, oh, lovely voices of the sky.
Yes, that's a good. Yeah, except you know what actually isn't Christmas? So they might all go there.
Well,
Well,
tell you what.
we could do one verse and give you an idea. Come back at Christmas and we'll do one.
There is a reason why it makes sense to be singing Eliza Flower's sacred music in this decidedly non-sacred ethical society. Because it was during her years in charge of the chapel's music that the journey from Christian Unitarianism to deism to the ultimately secular identity really began in earnest. In the 1840s, she and Fox produced the 2-volume collection of hymns and anthems that became the Society's songbook. This mixes Christian imagery and words with that of completely secular music and lyrics. Eliza borrowed from the latest German composers and set texts by poets from Shakespeare to her friend Martineau to the radical activist Ebenezer Elliott. And naturally, she composed a lot of the music herself. Just as radical as the content, however, was the way she changed the singing, moving from a standard congregational setup to a mix of expert choir with congregation as chorus, and debuting many of the hymns and anthems in a commercial public concert. Indeed, the Sunday concerts that are still held at Conway Hall today, 2 days' time, are Eliza's legacy. The devotional sermons morphed over the 19th century into lectures, accompanied by singing. This was pretty controversial stuff, and there were various splits over time, but this was nothing new. Before Eliza took over, there had been a huge fight over whether or not to play the organ after the service. The choir rebelled, and when a new organist was appointed, the old one locked the organ loft and hit the key for more than a year. Frankly, there was always quite a lot of drama around this particular group of reformers. Sarah Flower longed to become a professional actress and performed a few roles in regional theatre. She even auditioned before family friend William McCree, who was the greatest actor of the age. He was pretty supportive. In the end, it was Sarah's health that thwarted her theatrical ambition. But one of the parts she auditioned for him was Ophelia's madness scene in Hamlet. And that is something I want you to keep in mind for this next song. We've already heard one of Eliza's 14 Walter Scott songs to illustrate his novels. We're going to end this half with another, taken from Walter Scott's 1814 historical novel, Waverley. This is a song, I think, tailor-made for the exuberance of Sarah Flower's acting, with more than a little of Ophelia about it. It is Rose Bradwardine's song of St. Swithin's Chair. And to be able to perform it, I need you to welcome onto the stage St. Swithin's Chair itself. We have here a glorious chair straight out of Scottish legend Bidet, with fine velvet red cushion and a swagging sash with elegant scroll work, fashioned from 1,000-year-old oak. Take my word for it. And I think we'll, to illustrate this mix of Scottish history and old superstition, I think we might need to bring the lights down a little. We are moving, after all, from Christmas to something more topical, Halloween, or Hallowmas Eve.
it with cross, and sing it with bead. Sing the Ave and say the creed. Sing the Ave and say the creed. As if that'll help you. For on Harmas Eve the night hag shall ride, and on her ninefold sweeping on at her side, whether the wind sing lowly or loud, sailing through moonshine, sailing through moonshine, or sweet in love. Then on Harmas Eve everybody to rest. Ever beware that your count be blessed. Now, the Baron had been with King Robert his liege these 3 long years in battle and siege. News are there none of his woe or his will, and fain the lady his fate would know, and fain the lady his fate would know. So I made a little suggestion. He that ever sit in St. Swithin's chair, when the night had rise more troubled air, questions 3 when he speaks must spare. He may ask, and she will tell. Then on Harmas Eve everybody to rest. Ever beware at your couch be blessed. Oh, sorry. The lady she sat in St. Swithin's chair. The dew of the night had damped her hair. Her cheek was pale, oh dear. Her cheek was pale, but resolved and high was the word of her lip and the glance of her eye. She shudders and stops as the spell she speaks. Is it for moody owl that shrieks, or is it that sound betwixt laughter and scream, the voice of the demon, the voice of the demon that haunts the street? refuges, for I know full well they'll ne'er can reach the need of thy mild sovereignty. Robed in that dress of thought all poets wear, but thy dear love doth smile me on, past fear, and to thy very heart these leaves to weave, which richer grow while they come near. They may thy nice requirement satisfy. In thy content I win a wreath more bright than earth's wide garden ever could supply. Ah me, I think me still how poor a strain, and fly for refuge to thy love again.
If any single word can sum up the essence of Eliza Flower, her life, her work, then it is love. Sarah's poem shows us the way. Though she knew romantic love in the shape of the engineer and writer William Bridge Adams, and was more sustained than Eliza by spiritual devotion, this bond between the sisters was the heartstring of their lives. They endured the loss of a mother in childhood, a father in their 20s. They nursed each other through illnesses, provided a home and refuge for each other in troubled times. And certainly no time was more troubled than 1834, when Fox, still Eliza's guardian, broke with his wife, another Eliza, and set up a separate household with Eliza Flower, taking his children with him. This split South Place and cost them many of their friends. Even Harriet Martineau turned her back on them both for many years. There were nasty gossip columns printed in the Times. And at the centre of it all was one vulnerable young woman, Eliza Flower, now not just Fox's collaborator and secretary, but thrust into the position of mother to his children. We have no evidence whether Fox and Eliza were in love, or if their new household was anything other than platonic. She was still legally his ward. But what we can say is that she was a good mother in this found family, somehow finding the time and the energy to bring up 3 children. Fox's son Florence, now aged 13, had badly impaired speech and hearing, yet Eliza found the means to educate him, proving fiercely protective of this boy and equipping him with the skills for a career in the civil service that would have been denied to almost any other disabled young person at that time. It's a challenge to think in such an age what systems of communication they must have adopted. Truly, Eliza's love was a refuge. But this was no inward-focused quality. Her feelings turned outwards, directed to the betterment of her society, which was manifestly in dire need of some love and affection in the 1830s and 40s. And perhaps the greatest flowering of this, managed to avoid for so long, was the sisters' collaboration for the 1845 Anti-Corn Law League Bazaar. Which does sound like a rather bizarre thing. You may have heard of the Corn Laws, a protectionist system in place from 1815 to 1846 that effectively blocked the importation of cheap corn and kept prices artificially high for the sake of British farmers, and not coincidentally for the sake of the aristocrats who owned the farmland. The result, rather predictably, was poverty and famine. So in 1845, the league that was formed to protest against all this held an enormous charity bazaar. But rather than book some church hall, they decided to take a 3-week lease on Covent Garden Theatre. The whole place was decked out like a proto-great exhibition. Theatre boxes were converted into stalls to sell things, with fabrics and curtains for sale running down to the auditorium like Rapunzel's tresses. Also on sale were a series of songs. The Flower Sisters' 3 trade songs of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Their words rooted in the soil of agriculture, their music rising to the heights. The League won, by the way. The Corn Laws were abolished the very next year. We are going to hear those 4 songs now, run together as a true song cycle. And we're going to learn, hopefully, from their message of optimism amid struggle. We could do with some of that spirit today. As a starting point for getting that spirit today, we are then going to follow up with 4 new songs of the seasons, commissioned from 4 contemporary female composers. Our own Frances Lynch. I'm not going to ask them to take it back now. I'll be embarrassed. Anna Appleby, Lily Verno, and Amanda Johnson. Full details are on the longer programme, but better still, they are all here tonight, hiding in the audience, and will have to take their bow at the end. At which point we do encourage you to come and talk to any and all of us about what you may have heard and seen. But for now, we are giving you 8 seasons. 4 from 1845 and 4 from 2023.
Hark the whistle at the plough, hark the sower singing, high above the weary brow, hark the lark is ringing, sunshine bronzes in showers, golden rain of hope she pours, of dewy nights to summer days, mellow lightning, autumn breeze, plough and sower cheerily work on. Lo, for thee, heaven smiles come all the while, as the sweet air free. Lo, the lark has dropped to earth, where the corn is springing. Sudden silence to her, sad at heart but bringing clouded hopes descending rain, for heaven's blessing turned to bane, sickly nights and struggling days, starving all that toil repays. Plough, sow, wearily work on. Lo, for thee, man's hand is on the land. A curse till corn be free. And now the sun sends down his burning rain in yellow showers to gild the ripening grain. Now face said plain as plain could be, the harvest ne'er comes home to me. Harvest home, harvest home. Faint and faintly is heard the call, harvest home, harvest home. No echo comes from the cottage wall, for there the reaper with aspect wild holds a mouldy crust to a dying child. Harvest home, harvest home. What voice from beneath is heard to call, harvest home, harvest home, when the shadow of famine is over all, death for the reaper's child has come. Stern landlord to bear his harvest frosty earth and icy chain, knee-deep snow. Melody can hide away the hope that lives below. Onward all will ne'er forget, springtime is coming yet, is coming yet, is coming yet. Springtime is coming yet, is coming yet, is coming yet. Springtime is coming yet, is coming yet, is coming yet. Springtime is coming yet. Stony heart and stubborn hand, vain all now. Day by day hope's brightening rays, big budding promise grow. Onward all and ne'er forget, free corn is coming yet, is coming yet, is coming yet. Free corn is coming yet, is coming yet, is coming yet. Free corn is coming yet, is coming yet, is coming yet. Free corn is coming yet.
"'Tis pleasant when the nights are long, and days are drear and chill, and hail and sleet are driving fast in downward desperate will. Or when the choking mists around a gloomy influence shed, when miry ways are underfoot and drizzling rain o'erhead, when hardened faces, graceless forms are hurrying all about the courser of the human clay that nature fashions out. When voices rude in rattling street are sounds the chiefest heard, when one would almost give one's ears to hear a singing bird. It is pleasant then to wander back into the summertime, and cull a bright and cherished flower from memory's richest prime, to bid a sudden sunshine come, where all before was gloom, to say unto a barren heart, here shall a garden be. Spring, spring, spring. Spring, spring, sowing seeds of sadness, shattering the soil, for a future dream of summer streams, streams of sewage, but it is spring, 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 still spring, she said. Spring, could be spring, shall be, shall be.
He went and chose the names and said, the last generation, there's nothing left. We'll pick up remnants, memories of others. The internet begins to eat itself. UN chose the gas and oil, monetized survival. We still have rain and wind and sun. The future dream has just begun.
Has just begun. The future dream 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 has just begun. dream has just begun. The future 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 dream has just begun.
The internet wouldn't see itself.
The journey toward the end has begun. The set of events leading to the final day has been set in motion.
They were written out a long time ago. When the speaker starts to read aloud,
It is decided.
the end has begun.
The end has begun. What follows now a comfort. Our journey towards the end has begun.
Is it decided? But
The end
has
has
it begun?
begun.
But
The
has
end has begun.
As the song says, the end has begun. We are nearly done, and so is Eliza's story. In the same year that the Corn Laws were repealed, 1846, Eliza died of consumption. Sarah would follow her to the grave 2 years later, a victim of the same illness, compounded with that other great Victorian affliction, a broken heart. Eerily enough, we have a presentiment of that end in Eliza's own words. She describes being at the bedside of a consumptive friend during that friend's final weeks in a letter to her publisher, Novello. Eliza wrote that the dying woman lived in a dream, or as she said, a reality of heaven. I thought with sweet nature's help I could have carried her through, still smiling in her sleep and dreaming more of heaven. But it came at last. She said the day before, when the little white moth, so softly all things came, settled on the white wild flowers by her pillowhead, "It will fly away tomorrow, and I am quite ready, you know." But some fiend and physical pain tore her to pieces at last, and it was as if an infant, a trusting infant, had been torn to pieces, and no help. Then the horrible and sudden, sharp, wrenching discourse of negation. There is much of discord and negation at the end of Eliza's story. Her immediate public legacy, despite the love and admiration of Robert Browning, John Stuart Mill, a reconciliation with Harriet Martineau, that legacy was to be forgotten. And that public concert of 1846, in Eliza's final months, was both the first and the last celebration of her work for many years, beyond the tender confines of South Place. We'll leave the final words to Sarah, both in her poetry and in her greatest song, the one that has endured from that time to this, "Nearer, my God, to thee." Tonight, we don't have a choir, you will hear an excerpt from that hymn as Sarah wrote it, for Eliza's music. For both of them, it was their masterpiece. But before that, we have another tribute to a brilliant woman who died before her time. Their contemporary, Letitia Elizabeth Landon, better known at the time as L.E.L. A strikingly gifted writer, Eliza's exact contemporary, Landon penned the song "Sleep, Heart of Mine" as a lullaby to be sung in her own play, The Ancestress. On Landon's early dramatic death in 1838, however, its words formed the perfect epitaph for Landon herself, in perhaps the most bewitching of all Eliza's musical settings. It also works really well as a commentary by Eliza on her relations with Fox. Above all, I think it is an eternally beautiful song. So, before we hear "Nearer, my God, to thee," we will have that song, "Sleep, Heart of Mine," itself preceded by the last of Sarah's poetry.
And when at eventime thou murmurest an old rhyme, to lull the o'erwrought nerves to charmed quiet, soothing to downy rest the poor toil-wearied breast, vexed by the outer world's malicious riot. Sweet airs come one by one to learn thy gentle tone, and grateful scatter perfume o'er thy numbers, while sleep stands waiting near, a willing slave to bear a wreath of poppies for the tired one's slumbers.
Night comes, she seeks her rest.
Peace, fold her to thy breast, and loveliest dreams unto her sleep begin.
The blessing she has brought into her soul be wrought.
On earth there is no purer, brighter,